Hello, and welcome on back to PK's Rebalancing Mod Playthrough Showcase Thingbob. Now, this video is actually two separate sessions I sat down, about 40 to 45 minutes each, and I edited out the worst parts of them. First, we've got me exploring the lab. I figure I need these legs to heal, I need to do something, and I'm going to at least explore the lab, because just because I'm broken doesn't mean I can't shoot things with a shotgun or the AR. It's really only going to be a problem if I run into like a Secubot. Actually, I did run into a cyborg guard, but it's far less interesting than you think. I didn't get shot. He didn't even see me. I saw him when I was peeking through with the X button, and well, he's just been wandering in and out of its sector, so he's slowly dying. But either way, we don't do anything with him special. Here, I just show off my start, a vine, one of the ones that don't die, because by default, 99% of the vines will suicide at some point. But that 1% will not, and it is capable of finding you. This one did, and it can be hard to hit if you're not skilled. Not a huge threat. It's really more of a this is Triffid territory, so you should probably be on the lookout kind of thing, and it is good for clearing like zombies or small woodland critters, which is perfectly fine. You can't send a giant tree monster after every rabbit that walks by. So Triffids are also aligned with all spiders they're friendly or neutral towards, but wolf spiders in particular will spawn inside Triffic areas at higher rates, and the Triffids will protect the spiders and the spiders will protect the Triffids. The other insects they work with, but it's really the Triffids they get along best with, and the bees, but the bees actually get along with them in the core game as well. What do you do? So I'm showing you my preparations. I'm repairing all my stuff. I'm going to be dropping things like the backpacks that I put on because I was carrying his stuff out, I think. And it didn't quite occur to me that I might not be healing my legs if they keep getting hit by everything. So, I mean, I've been shocked, I've been stabbed, I've been stomped on. Maybe not the best thing to heal. Either way, the show does have to go on, and like I said, my other option is just waiting out in the woods for 4 or 5 days so I can detox and heal up my legs. I haven't had any luck finding a hospital so far, but I haven't exactly looked after I found this. So now here I'm skipping to my next part. It's just a bunch of pickup stuff. There were a couple of broken cyborgs and stuff, and you can see them here, why, and all that. Nothing a shotgun won't immediately put down. The knife spear's not doing it. I could probably get like a sledgehammer or something, that'll do pretty well, but what's nice about these guys is you can tell who they are based on what they say. But you see how I took him out of the door frame, and I immediately closed the door so that whoever else was in there with him, if there was, wouldn't bother me. It's better safe than sorry if you're going to be doing something silly like trying to raid the labs. Okay. Like I said, so I'm not sure what's happening. I do know I show off the man hack, how to melee him with no skill. Well, it's not that I have no skill, it's that I have very low skill and very low speed as a result of being crippled. Essentially, you just want to cut off their retreat path so that you can keep jabbing at them as much as possible. They don't like that one bit. You see how he's trying to run off to the other side now? I'm going to do it again, and he's going to try again. But eventually you'll get him. Not a big deal. But, oh, the blobs. Boy, there's nothing like a medium-sized monster, the size of you, by the way, a blob, that can wreck your day. I do not put much stock in my ability to kill one of those things. And I I've allowed Shogoths to actually spawn in. Very low chance, very high cost. Not very likely in the beginning of the game when the costs haven't started to escalate. How the game works is that everything has a difficulty rating, and then everything has in the spawn pool for the labs, for instance, everything has a rating cost multiplier, and what that does is it determines how expensive it is to place a monster. Let's say a monster like a Zed is only going to be cost multiplier 1, but like a Hulk is going to be 50, which is about accurate. That means the Hulk is going to cost 50 times more than the Zed after. It's going to be an extra bonus to how much they cost. And the game gets yay many points based on how much noise you're making, based on how high the density is for the monsters, based on all that stuff. And how long you've been playing, it gets a bonus. And if the game tries to spawn something that it's too expensive for, it'll spawn the default monster of every group, which in like the zombie case is, in core game, it's a regular zombie. In mine, it's actually nothing. So, that's part of the reason why there are less common Zeds and there are less common straggling Zeds, because I removed the stragglers. But then again, I do allow for more of them to spawn at one time than core game. So, either way, you just see me making a few trips, getting the stuff. I didn't find any mutagen, which would have been my primary concern. But, I did manage to find supplies, water. I cleaned off those PRM gloves I found, which, like I said, they're not great. They're comparable to like upgraded medical gloves. They have 100% coverage only because if they didn't have 100% coverage, they wouldn't protect against things like acid or gas or whatever. But 50% is probably a better number for them, to be completely honest, but they still have comparable coverage, and I show you that right here. Even damaged, it has more environmental protection, it has more acid protection, and it has more physical defense. So, not a bad tool. One thing I like to do is mark the shortest route down and mark my exit, because it is possible to get confused. Now, in core game, broken cyborgs are aligned with the Zeds, which makes sense because they do revive, but it's very interesting that with the help of the machine parts, he can remember who he is, because he says things like, "Why can't I die? Please kill me." So it would suggest that at least some of his conscious is actually part of the machine, which is interesting because, you know, after all, Zeds, they don't retain their memory. They certainly don't know how to speak. So maybe these people who are zombies, in the beginning at least, are capable of feeling, thinking, or maybe it's the machine that's voicing it. Either way, the very implications and certainly interesting, but I don't know. I don't think too hard about it. It's just a very interesting tidbit. Either way, I changed him to the bot species and factions. This way, well, I think he's still a zombie species, but he's the bot class faction. That way, he won't get shot at by like all the military bots, because I do have them spawning in the police bot group. Perhaps maybe they'll need to be there, sure, but this way they're aligned with skitter bots and things too. He's a cyborg. I figure, unless you're gonna say he's like an escaped prisoner of some kind or whatever, he shouldn't be attacking skitter bots. Unless he's somewhere he shouldn't be, but let's not go into that kind of complexity. Either way, this first video is about 10 minutes long, so I think I've shown you about everything I can. I cleared 2 or 3 floors, and managed to waste a couple days. When I got tired, I got tired of playing, or I wanted him to sleep and regain health, or the faster I pass the time, the more the alcohol goes away, and that helps. I took some Ambien, and I went and took a nap with the noise-canceling headphones I made. Those headphones, they'll save your life. Okay. So that was me fixing everything and burning some stuff that I might cook. I've been eating MREs and the rest of the fruit and the plant fiber stuff. And as you can see, I found like a the manhack. Zombie scientists have a fair chance, like 4%, 5%, 1 in 20, 1 in 10, something, of having manhacks. And they can actually have other things too. Let's not get into too much detail about what they can pack. But they carry a pretty good variety of decent things, so they are worth killing even if you don't butcher them for their CBMs. Which they have like power CBMs and a bunch of like basic utility stuff. Sadly, we can't shoot laser beams from our mouths, but this is going to begin the second one. And immediately, I'm trying to figure out where I am, because it is a few days in between each session here. Okay, all my equipment is in order. I repaired that. It's going to be 8 protection now, which is pretty good. I don't think it matches tactical, but it's pretty up there. So I think I show off the guard now. What I like to do early on, if I get desperate and I have some duct tape or nails, is I'll make wooden spikes on the front of my vehicle, and that'll help save it some integrity. Yeah, you saw how he was making noise on the right side of the door? Walk over to the right side, and you can flick it on and peek through the X button. You should be okay, but if I got shot in the face, I would have been blaming you guys. But I've done that kind of stuff before. It's dangerous in a sense, but it's not that bad. So yeah, as you can see, straight down to where we left off, I had mapped out this floor pretty thoroughly, and I'm ready to go to the next one. I wanted to save that because this is going to be the finale floor, let's hope. If I can get in there, I could get that fire axe, and I would love to, but I don't have a jackhammer or anything. Similarly, I don't have faith in my 2-3 computer skill to open up these doors. So, okay. Let us find the downstairs and go. I think I've cleared most of the monsters that are going to be making noise out. The only one left is that cyborg guard. So that's why I think I'm close to the bottom. Here, I'm just trying to roll around in the water so that I can get wet and lower the body heat. Does not work, but it does work in other situations, so. Okay. Stairs can spawn anywhere. So you do have to explore on occasion. Like even beds can spawn on top of stairs. So you gotta watch out for that stuff. But I will tell you, I do not find the way down. Or rather, I do, but it's really disappointing. I actually did not find the finale. I did find empty rooms though, so that was nice. Okay, empty room. Empty room. Empty room. Empty hallway. Empty hall. Empty room. And our last door, empty room. You know what's also empty? These doors. There's no doors. So there is no getting in or out. And I think there actually is another downstairs. It just actually doesn't lead anywhere. So the finale is there to the best of my ability. It doesn't fail to spawn. What happens is it fails to spawn a connection, which means it could have spawned disjointed from everything. It could be in one of these locked doors up here, but it did not spawn the regular way, and it is not in this bathroom, that's for sure. Not in the elevator, and I'm not going around and checking every table, and no. I do wander around a bit more, a little confused. But ultimately I have to call it quits because I'm not going to spend my day walking around looking for a staircase that may or may not be there. One thing about these procedurally generated places, it's just not worth that kind of hassle. It's really not. So that done, I've got to go find something to do with my time. Okay. I've been smashing in those crates instead of doing the proper thing and getting a crowbar or making a makeshift. I actually smashed a vial of purifier. I was a little mad, but apparently cut that out. Not much else interesting going on around there, so yeah, no. So yeah, you have me being a little confuzzled, trying to see if maybe there's a good chunk of the lab that hangs out over the floor below it. Maybe I could just take an alternate route. No, don't think so. Oh, there's a downstairs, but it's blocked off. Okay. No use to tarry around, I think. Not gonna stop me from looking. Good news though, I use a majority of the batteries I did gain on this little expedition with the flashlight. I actually only have like 600 or 700 left at this point. Only 600 or 700. But we won't find that out till a little later. Okay, just want to leave the doors open. They were probably closed by our good friend, who's now deceased, Clay. This way I know where they're coming and going, and if I ever do come back here, I know what I've opened, and I know what's safe to walk around in. Handy enough. Okay, but there's really no reason to hang out. Yes, I'm still withdrawing, but it is getting better. If you look, my morale's scantly 100 now. Yep. No books that I can read, even if you have abysmal morale. There are some very low skill books that you can read that you can skill up with. I've learned that. It's just a shame because these books don't take half an hour to read. They take 5 minutes a pop. Okay, that tardigrade, that water bug, has actually been getting attacked for the past 2 or 3 days. He doesn't take much in the way of damage because he has like 24 armor. You have to have a gun or a pretty good melee weapon to make a dent at him. He can do a good number on the player who's not ready for him too, because he does something like 1 to 28 damage with low skill, so he misses a lot, and when he does hit, there's a good chance he won't do anything. But occasionally he has a pretty good thumping. 28 is significant. That's enough to pierce my armor that I have on right now. Anywho. Here I'm considering what to do next, because I didn't plan for the lab not to have a finale. I think what's going to happen is we're going to go down. Now, in case anyone didn't know, rubble does not count as a significant obstacle to vehicles, and you have to actually get onto the crater to become irradiated by it at all. You saw how it was right next to it? I was very clearly on the same map tile as it. It is the crater itself that will get you all those rads, not being next to it. There is no ambient radius of radiation. It's just either you're getting irradiated or you're not. Okay, here's a tribot. What I'd show off is that I changed the tribot. He no longer has a flamethrower. Instead, they have a welder on them. Now, I don't go through the effort of trying to kill this guy here, but if you want to, I would recommend it. A welder, I need a welder after all. But, yes, I took off the flamethrower, I added a welder. I don't know if I changed the skill level you need to take him apart, but, yeah, the flamethrower is a nice weapon. There are other ways to get it. It's not going to be a tribot. He has a deadly melee attack instead now, which is perhaps a little more fair. Instead of setting you on fire instantly, he just sets you on fire when he hits you. Anyway, I skillfully, I might say, get him to fight the soldier zombies, and he will win. Tribots are very weak for a robot. They have okay armor, and they're certainly strong enough. But almost all the other robots are going to be stronger than that. I think the broken guard is about the only one who isn't. Even the cyborg guard, the one who attacks with his giant, huge Mega Man arm cannon, is going to be wrecking somebody's day when they hits him, but he's only going to do it like once a minute. Anywho. So yes, Tribot having a good time with some soldiers playing Nintendo or whatever he does. And we got ourselves some boots that I can cut up. Excuse me. Long week. Okay. But just like that was a tribot, I mean, what if it was something I didn't spot, like a helicopter drone? Very easily could have been a helicopter. Well, not very easily. It's a pretty rare spawn and it's very expensive. But it could have been one of those. I did make them a lot louder. But, you know, perhaps I should have it laser sight you or something. I don't know. Well, what it is a flying rifle. Yes, it is a flying military turret. And it will have a lot of good, clean fun with the player. It prioritizes targets, so while it might go after a soldier zombie next to it, it's coming after you eventually, if you're holding a gun especially. As far as I know, what they consider targets are going to be offensive skill and proximity. You can't lower your skill, but you can lower your weapon. Just a thought. Anywho, we don't really want to mess with the guy there, but I do have this on camera, so I know exactly where he was. He was by these craters over here. So if I get a little healthier, I can come back and take that welder if I get really desperate. With half item spawns, it's not an invalid solution to my problem. I have screwdrivers, I have a toolbox, I have some soldering iron. This could happen. I don't have any skill, but, I mean, maybe the luck will be on my side. Okay, this center was bombed. What that means, we'll find out. Well, that means that the zombie bay is very open. But that's not an instant no-no. That just means the shocker's going to be roaming around a lot sooner than he otherwise would, because it doesn't always stay inside that bay. Okay, there's an amigo down there. It's a real shame iBots only take your picture and don't take pictures of other things. One of those things where they only target the player with it. For instance, grenadier attacks. The same ones that launch like the Revenant rockets, the same one that do like the Archdemon will do that. They only target the player with that stuff. If you want to kill a grenadier, your best bet is to have an NPC do it. Just saying, guys. Okay, this situation a little more complicated than it needs to be. There's brutes and amigos and hordes now. But this is not unsalvageable. I'm mostly interested in the merchant NPC and learning whatever he can teach me. The problem is, they don't always have useful things to teach you. But still, if I could learn like shotgun, that'd be nice. Rifle would be nice. Marksman would be nice. Mechanic I could live with. I mean, they're not nothing. But they have been disappointing as of late. Okay. So there's a nice view into them, and I don't know why they would stick into this place like this when it's very damaged. But we don't have dynamic defenses for NPCs or whatever. So let's grab some more firecrackers, because you could never have too many firecrackers. I'm going to throw my own 4th of July parade after I'm done with this game. 4 boxes of them. Now the firearm repair kit, on the other hand, not hard to get my hands on. Appreciate it. Drop leg pouches are pretty good. I can live with the crowbar. Chest rake, not bad. Gas mask is okay. I can buy some of this leather trench coat, it's a pretty good deal. But let's stick with what I have now. Not a huge deal. I prefer dust to the trench coat anyway, for the greater coverage it offers. And, there's a zombie. He's being a silly guy. Okay, let's go get this shocker. Now, it occurs to me that I might have a problem killing it, but I think I have a creative and fun enough solution. I do have a shotgun, by the way, so if worst come to worst, I can drive up next to it and pop it in the eye hole. But, maybe I can have more fun with it. After all, look at this. An opportunity waiting to happen. I told you, if you don't have a little fun with the game, then, yeah. Okay, let's wait for him to get out of here. Unfortunately, he has to walk over all that rubble because he's silly. Okay. I also learned that the game does not count wearable items as being useful for lighters. I tried to light the Molotov with the wearable lighter I have on, and by the way, I have plenty of matches and lighters in the door right there. It wouldn't count it, so just interesting aside. You can still light fires with it when you select it, but it does not count, and I suspect it won't count for like smoking cigarettes. But there's an aluminum cake that was dropped by a boomer that was killed by something, a moose, I think. We're going to collect that. That's useful stuff. Put water in it. Or whiskey in it. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. And we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving. And there's a healthy horde out here. Not all of these came from that cargo base. Some of them are spawning as wanderers. Like those soldiers. They were wandering. I know that for a fact. So, there you go. Don't have a source of fire. Despite having a wearable lighter right there on W. Okay. So. Drive-bys don't have to be done with guns, and you don't have to joust with a spear. You can throw Molotovs. Do not take my aim as a good idea, though. There you go. Just missed him. Okay. Here I am throwing it on my back door. Luckily, it won't stay in my car. It does land on the ground even if it smacks into one of the boards. But it's another miss. Very tragic. I'm sure you know that. still, let's have more fun with it. Okay. So, sorry about that minor interruption. Okay, so here I am trying to throw more Molotov at more zombie. I think this is the one that... Oh, apparently it's not the one. Okay. Now, you can lead them around, but I really don't want to damage the vehicle, so I do try to be somewhat careful with what I'm doing here. There it is. I finally managed to get him. Oh, okay, we're going to throw pipe bombs at him. Yeah, pipe bombs suck. Honestly, they were decent enough for dealing raw damage at one point, but, I don't know. I would say use nail bombs if you want to do something like kill turrets, and probably for anything else you want to kill, because they just aren't that good. I don't know. I don't know how effective they are in real life, I honestly don't, but I do know in the game there's not a whole lot of point using them. I had a negative opinion of the match head bomb too, but who knows. There we go. Some zombie with ammo died, so let's kite him into the fire using our car. You can probably do this with a bike pretty well if there's no grapplers around too. There you go. Sean even had some ammo on him, but he's dead in any case. The pain I feel is from being electrocuted. It's a shame, but whatever. The hard part here is how to not be attacked by the monsters. I think I decided to just run in as fast as possible and hope they didn't see me and start smacking on the car. There's a skeleton. What can you teach me? Electronics or bartering? I think I actually go with bartering. Or speaking, rather. Nope. I'm not stopping unless there's a horde. He says he won't restart, so... Now that we're done, I will take my leave. They can defend this meteor-blasted area alone. I have level 3 speaking. I don't ever plan to use speaking for anything other than the random NPC, so whatever. I wanted my money's worth, and that was the only value that was my money's worth. Okay, broken iBots are pretty good for taking with you and deconstructing whenever you can, but they're very heavy and surprisingly large. Okay, now with this done, I do need to find something to do with my time. I think I do a little bit of light scouting where I don't know where everything is, but otherwise I think I just find a place to hunker down, so the rest of the video is me driving around, perhaps talking a little about what to do, because at this point, my instincts would be, like I said before, just hunker down, let the legs heal, hunker down, read up a little, maybe do a little bit of easy night raiding, try to find a welder. I'd probably smash this car into that, hoo-hoo-bot, tri-bot, but not a big deal. Having access to a welder right now, I would need batteries as well. There are electronic centers all over the place. I know there's one right next to this, so. But, yeah, no, it entails a lot of raiding, and I don't desperately need anything more than a new trunk and perhaps a few, like, you know, modifications to this thing. Take out the 2 back seat, put some trunks or cargo spaces. Eventually, I want to move the driver's seat to where that box is, where the chargy box is, and then swap the chargy box out for like a floor panel. Now, I read on the Reddit that somebody was complaining about seats obstructing view. Move the bloody seat over and use a floor trunk in that area. You can even use a curtain without a door. NPCs won't be pathing into your vehicle because you can't see what items are in the vehicle until you actually get into the vehicle. So unless they get in the vehicle, they're not going to know what you have in it. The only way they're going to actually get in there is if you let them get in there, or if there's a zombie in there and they want to kill it. But I've noticed NPCs don't overly care about zombies, and they won't fight them unless they have to. That is a good move on their AI, by the way, because they're survivors, and they tend to die pretty quickly when they try to fight every zombie they see. It also makes it harder on you because the NPCs aren't interested in taking the damage for you. So there you go, kids. So, not terribly worth it, but since I put parking lots outside of them, I do know that they're a little worth it to me, because you need a car. They're a good place to go. You can find some safety goggles, you can find a few tool belts, you can find a filter mask if you're lucky, but you'll never find like a hammer or a toolbox or all the kind of hardware you actually want. It's like a clothing store for specialists or something there. Get some seeds if you want. And don't get me wrong, seeds are valuable, I just don't farm. Not that farming's hard. Okay, so what I'm going to do is leave you guys here. I'm going to, at very least, sleep off the rest of this withdrawal. Maybe read a book, craft some stuff, figure out what's going on. I have a firearm repair kit. I think I'm going to get that revolver, that defender that's damaged, and fix that up. Take off the AR so that I can have just a shotgun and the revolver. This way I can compress what I have on me, and it is getting warmer as summer lingers. Starts to linger. And here you can watch this kind of variant of a K-turn I'm doing here. A lot of people have complained about the driving system and how it's like a delayed driving system. It's really not that bad, especially once you learn the ins and outs of it. I'm not going to say it's like driving in real life, because obviously it's nothing like driving in real life, but the system itself is modeled very well. I can predict exactly where my vehicle is going to be. I do not have any problems, and I don't have any over complaints about it. I wish there was more warning when you swerve. I feel like that might, be worth doing, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, guys. I'm going to burn this scabby zombie to death. By the way, this is called a beekeeper in the files. And he was following me by scent. When I lit that fire, he lost my scent. For whatever reason, he cannot see me. They have poor vision to begin with, and I suspect it's something to do with the cloudy nature of the sky that limits their vision even further, to the point where he can't see me. And so he lost sight of me, and he couldn't smell me because the fire was destroying the scent. So, just fun tidbit. They can drop honeycombs if you're lucky. But okay, guys, take it easy now. Catch you later.